started. So welcome to the first meeting of the Planning Committee for 2025. It's a fairly light agenda, so I think this may not be a long meeting. So open session, we've got nobody here, no members of the public here, so we shall move on to the whether anybody, item 176, does anybody wish to record the meeting in addition to the recordings already been made?
No.
No, thank you. Apologies for absence. Received apologies from councillors Barnett, Dixon, Fenwick and Brooke. Are we happy? They've all been sent by email. Happy to accept the reasons for apologies?
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you. Right. Item 178, members and officers' personal disclosable pecuniary interests in items on the agenda. Has anybody anything to declare at this point? No? No? Thank you. Officer? No? Thank you. Right. DPI, new DPI dispensations, item 179. Have there been any? Item 180, do we wish to discuss anything in private session?
No.
No. Okay. 181, can we first of all confirm, can we approve rather the minutes of the last meeting, which was on the 9th of December? Yeah. Happy to do that. Right. And so, assistant clerk's report on any progress and matters arising, not otherwise.
Nothing that's not otherwise
Nothing.
noted.
Right. Excellent. Right.
Got to be quiet though, I've been told.
According to this, it's 7:25 now.
There's time shifting.
Right.
No, it's a pub.
Item 182, can we note the list of Kirklees planning applications?
Noted.
Thank you. Right. Point 2 are the new planning applications. Okay, so I sent a list out. I'm sorry it was reading it. I have been spending quite a lot of time on Parish Council's business, but it just took me a while to get round to those. And Andy suggested a couple more, which I didn't manage to look at.
I only saw that email later on today, so I'm looking at the extra ones.
I thought the meeting wasn't long enough.
You thought you'd stick a couple more. Not noble of you.
Thanks for that.
Okay, let's first of all look at number 2, which is the conservation area, and also it's a listed building consent.
It's only a dry stone wall to replace
So
a fence. I think we should. I support it. Put it
Yes,
that way.
I support it.
Yeah.
Surely it'll be better, Tom.
Yeah.
More in keeping.
Yeah, that's what I like.
Tom also sent his views on these, and he supports it. So I think that's absolutely a unanimous. We'll support that one. Yes. Okay, number 3, the Bottoms Mill. Oh, this is interesting because this just Hoop CIC were here at the big community day, and I talked to them quite a bit, and they also applied for a grant. Yes. So, well, I looked at this and I would like to support.
I'd like to support it.
Yeah, support it.
I mean, it's going to look exactly the same. It's going to get used. People will benefit.
Yeah, and it's 5 staff rather than 3 staff that were employed there last time. So are we happy to support that one? Okay, Wooldale Methodist Church. So Tom also would support it. Number 8, which is Wooldale Methodist Church. Which is a change of variation of condition in conservation.
My only concern, and I don't know how strong this is, I'm open to hear what other people say. The big French windows or bifold doors or whatever they were going to be, they're out of sight, they're at the back, they seem to be near a wall. They certainly don't fit, but they're out of sight. So I don't know what, I mean, you're the planning.
It's already gone through anyway, hasn't it? So it's just variation of condition on.
I think they're being pushed
an
into
additional
putting a new
window,
window in.
yeah.
Yes.
Sorry? Yeah.
They're being pushed into putting another window in.
Yeah, they could put a window in that doesn't look brand new and look like a bifold door. I mean, I'm not against them putting a window in.
I think it's too late to object to the bifold doors. I think
Yeah,
it's gone
I think
through, hasn't it? So this is just a variation of condition. So it was building control, wasn't it, that made it was the next, so there's an escape from that bedroom. So just a window at the back. It's pretty messy building at the back, isn't it? I've
And
been
there's a change of level as well, so you're not really.
Doesn't make it, yeah.
I couldn't. Did anybody see the change to the front windows? I had a look. I couldn't really see much.
To the front window?
Mm.
I only saw the big one at the back.
No, there's
They're
not.
not particularly pretty windows anyway,
No.
they're just,
No.
they're just square windows.
Yeah.
I couldn't really see what the change was and how it would make any difference.
So Tom is inclined to support it and subject to the listed buildings officer.
Yeah.
Well, they'll have all that to go through anyway, won't they? It's alright paying it over, isn't it?
Shall we happy to go with that
Yeah.
then?
Yeah.
Okay. Support subject to buildings officer. Right. And then we've got this strange multi-level thing with all these numbers that always confuse. Some of them on Woodhead Road and some of them down on Lower Mill Lane.
Well,
So
that's underdwellings
new
and
windows,
overdwellings.
new windows and doors. Again, in a conservation.
Although in general one doesn't
I
want to see wood replaced with plastic, I can see all the arguments, and it's going to be more thermally desirable, and they're not old buildings, they're just
No.
on an old site, so I
Yeah.
can't really see why we would not.
The only question I had was the colour of them. At the moment, they're white, and
Yeah.
to me they look right in white.
Yes.
But the new windows, it doesn't say, or I couldn't see.
But it doesn't have to be white. Everybody's got this thing about when old-fashioned windows should be white. When Weaver's cottages were built, they were wood coloured. They weren't white.
My window colour is ash. My husband drove me all around the Erne Valley looking at window frames in people's houses to choose windows.
I chose black for
You have an exciting
Well,
life.
my only point is I couldn't see
What happens
where
when
it
you write
told
to
you
a
what
builder,
colour.
Steve?
You couldn't see.
Anywhere that told you what colour they were. They might be pink. I
Yeah.
don't know.
It's unlike.
But there was a colour chart with all these different colours.
Yeah.
on it. It didn't
I
tell you
think
which
in the
one.
conservation area you are limited to what colours you can
Yeah.
see.
I would
I
hope
think,
so.
yeah, well, Tom said he would support it, but again, subject to the conservation
Yeah.
officer.
I
So
think I
happy
agree.
to go with that
Yeah.
one. So if there is an issue about the
Yeah.
colour, then, okay. All right, and then we've got the two that Andy suggested we might look at, which are numbers 11 and 12.
Which ones are they?
Okay, so number 11 is
Broad Lane.
3D Broad Lane. Pods has become a very fashionable term, I think.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
more-
it looks like a prefabricated building.
Yes, it's
So
not,
what's the-
when I saw red pod, I kind of thought around. And they're not, they're sort of big sheds.
So what are they?
What number are we looking at?
Number
11.
Number
11.
11. Number 11. So there's two described as garden pods, one at either side of the house, one at the front, one at the back.
Very
So,
large.
some of the comments from the neighbours I thought were perhaps not.
Well, one's claiming overlooking,
Yes.
and the other's concerned that it will become Airbnbs.
Yeah,
Which they could do.
they could,
Well-
but we can't.
We can't say what they're going to do in 18 months'
No.
time, can we?
Material
Have they,
consideration, is
have they
it?
suggested what they are for, these pods?
Well,
Yeah,
one's
well,
a-
yeah.
One's a garden room, and the other's a home office.
Office, yeah.
But they have a toilet and a sink in, which sort of.
Well, yeah, but you need a loo in your home office.
Well, in planning,
Yeah.
under planning law, you are allowed to put a pod in your
Yeah.
garden, as long as it doesn't have a kitchen,
Yeah,
and it comes under their domestic curtilage. So arguably,
Yeah.
it actually does qualify. They might not like it,
No.
but
I
It's,
was trying to look up what the ruling is, and
that's the rule in Irish
I mean,
law.
most of the things I've read say that you don't actually need planning permission.
No, you don't, it's under permitted development, under your
Yeah.
domestic curtilage,
Yeah.
as long as it's not got a kitchen in it, as long as you're not living in it as a domesticated, you need to go into the house, there's no planning rules, you technically don't need planning.
Mm.
We're probably doing this out of politeness.
so they, one of the residents wrote about bathroom and kitchen facilities.
Yeah.
Well, it isn't that, it's a toilet and
It's a
it's a
toilet,
toilet and a sink,
Which
isn't
I
it?
read up the
Yeah.
neighbouring comment,
Yeah.
I'm looking at different plans.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not big enough.
Well, when I was looking for the bathroom,
Yeah.
you know,
As
the
long-
as long
bathroom
as
either has a shower or a
As
bath.
long as you don't have a working
Yeah.
kitchen that you can live in amenably, you don't need, it's under permitted development.
I think it's a bit of an odd situation, isn't it, where if you were extending your house, you would be expected to make it look like the rest of the house, I guess, and comply with all these things. If it was a garden shed, then it doesn't matter, does it?
No, it's not a permanent dwelling.
These are somewhere in between, aren't they? They need
It's
one
because
from
they've
the
got an
other.
electric supply that he'll have to have
Well,
applied
they're
for.
also going to have foul sewage connections because of the
Yes.
toilets and.
It's almost an extension.
There's
No.
no sort of semi-extension.
But I suppose it's a cheap way of doing it under the
Yeah.
economic
Yeah.
climate.
I think,
I don't
are
think
we
we have anywhere
inclined-
to go.
I think
but-
we've got to support, or we may not wish to, I think we.
Well,
I
we
don't
don't
think
object
we-
to it,
I
put
don't
it
think
that
we
They
way.
go, they go with officer's decision.
But I think that one of the objections was the material consideration, which was about overlooking, wasn't it, the one at the back? So maybe we could qualify it by saying we support,
Yeah.
provided there's no overlooking.
Yeah.
People happy to go with that?
Yeah. The thing is, it's a bit of a grey area, isn't it? Because, you know, like if you go to the Yorkshire Show, you can speak to them and they'll tell you it doesn't need planning and it don't.
And the garden shed, or the garden room, by the way, talking about I-follow thoughts. Those ones.
And
Just-
Sometimes
they're
they're
so
Right.
90, they're so 2020.
I've gone back to a traditional patio door at my house because my bifolds used to blow away in the wind. Right then.
Right, let's now look at number 12, the last one, which is Murray House, and it's splitting it into two, and it seems to be hardly any change externally, creating one bedroom house and one two-bedroom house.
Again, I thought it was obvious in that, you know, that it's another house effectively, isn't it?
You can do that though, can't you?
You know, so you can't.
But why would you?
Well, maybe it's to raise money. I mean, maybe who knows? We don't really know. We don't really look into the reasons. We just got to.
I don't see, what's your thoughts, Andy? You brought
Well,
it
there were two things that struck
Yeah.
me. One was that I can't see how there's enough parking for two houses. They show 3 cars on there, right up to you get through. And I thought the climate change statement was dreadful.
They seem to be paying less and less attention, developers, to the climate change.
And at the end of the day, it's another house,
Yeah.
isn't it? Which
It is, but we desperately need some.
One
We do
bedroom
it.
houses
We do
don't
it.
we enough for single people
Yeah.
and like.
and there'll be small
Yeah.
houses, and I
Yeah.
think
Yeah,
that's
that's
And this
Probably
meets,
small
and this
houses, yeah.
meets into our criteria, doesn't it? And maybe they can like rent it out to pay the bills, or maybe they're like getting divorced, maybe the husband's had a week off with snow.
It doesn't matter what they're going to do with it, it's an additional
It doesn't
small
matter,
house.
it's
So
an
additional-
therefore, in that
better.
sense,
Well,
it's desirable.
Yeah, it turns it into too small. Yeah, and it just. So
I think we should go yes. Sorry,
support
Andy.
that one.
I'd like to just mention something about the parking.
Okay, right, just.
Yeah,
So
just
we
make
say
sure
support,
there is
but
adequate
subject to
parking,
adequate parking. Is
Yeah.
that- Yeah,
And, you know,
If
approve in principle.
right. I think that's the shortest ever.
I extended it to two additionals.
Really good, isn't it, record? Right. So, back to item 182, Kirklees planning applications, and this, the working group, which consists of Joe, me, Andy, and Tom. And the last time we met, we decided that we didn't need to meet again until January, when we would assess how the new system was working. So I think in terms of timing, I think the group needs to meet again if possible before the next planning meeting, which is on the 10th of February. So I'll send out some dates.
Well, I think what we're doing now is certainly better than what we
Yeah, I
were
was
doing
going to
before.
say at least we.
I
have a
still
little
doubt
time
its
to-
value at all, to be brutally honest.
Can I interject slightly on your dates? Because I think the intention was to report to full council on your recommendations and how it's gone,
Right.
which will
Yeah.
be the 3rd of February, so it will need to be at least a week before that.
So
that
we
actually
might as
doesn't
well
give
give
you
it a
very
bit
long.
longer as a trial.
Well, we can't do that, can we? Because it's not good.
We can report back to
We
say we're
can-
going to keep going for a bit longer.
Mm.
Can I suggest we go for another 4 months, see how it goes?
Because it's better, isn't it? So we're not putting us ways through anything.
I think the constraint really is, I think, around timetabling for the next civic year, really, isn't it? That we need to decide whether this committee is going to continue.
yes,
So
we
it
did.
and that
Before
decision.
the new council.
I'm
yeah.
fairly sure that the working group is going to come up with a split, I've said this before, with a split recommendation, which we won't be able to resolve here. It's going to have to go to the full council on the. So we haven't got.
You've got February full council is the 3rd of Feb, and then I think you've got one, have you got one in March? I haven't got my diary on, I'm afraid. Because you need to have sort of made your decision before committees are formed again, which will be at the annual parish meeting, the first meeting of the year, which is in May. And only full council can make a change to the committees.
For me, though,
So it needs to be recommended before.
the thing is about this meeting is that it does have an impact, because when we do refuse it, there has been examples which we've been hauled over hot coals for, where the parish council has been called out for not supporting the application and that going into an officer's decision. And when Councillor Brooks spoke to the planning department about it, they did say they were interested in what we were doing and that they were going to attempt to have more interaction with us. So to be fair, I think that if we canned it, we might be, don't get me wrong, they don't do it at Penistone because Penistone believe that Barnsley
And they don't do it in Murfield or Meltham.
Well, they do it in, and people do come to the meetings and tell us their views.
Yeah,
so
we
they-
know these are.
They do, but we don't really want to rehearse the arguments,
Yeah.
do you? Or perhaps we do. I don't know. Do you want to rehearse the arguments?
I think it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because there's no sort of halfway stage here, is there?
No.
We either don't do any, look at any planning.
Mm.
If we don't meet monthly, we can't do it at all.
Mm.
So we either do it monthly or we don't do it at all.
Mm.
There are no in
And
between.
that's
other than what we
That's
say.
the real downer
Yeah.
about it,
Yeah.
because we've reduced the work to a level where we could, if timing allowed, if other people's timing allowed, we can meet quarterly now
Yeah.
with this workload. But sadly, the nature of the way it comes in doesn't allow us to
I
do
think
that.
to abandon it altogether, I think, as Joe was saying,
I think
I get lots of people,
I
members of
think
the public
that's
coming
right.
together.
Yeah,
saying,
we've been through all of those arguments a million
I
times.
think I wouldn't ever suggest that we'd have a look at any planning application. I think we need to look at significant ones and ones like the large developments, you know, like the ones off Broadhead Road and so on. And they're around for a lot longer than like just
Yes.
the span of, you know,
Yes.
the span of the eight week cycle or whatever it is. Because things will still bubble up, won't they? That you will be aware that residents are upset about them and so on.
But we don't just look at planning though, do we? We look at like traffic calming, we look at
Yeah.
road issues, highways.
Yeah, but that's because we're meeting anyway, and we might as well. We could find other homes for those if we wanted.
We do, but they don't need to be discussed on.
Can I suggest that we say we'll continue this trial into the new council, and that the new council at some point later in the year can look at it again if it wishes to.
I don't know, have you got a view on this?
I've got a few views and I can definitely see all sides, but I can advise and I can sort of take you through what potentially might be some alternative options for you. Is if you wanted to continue with the things that you're talking about, like roads and those sort of things, but they don't need to be spoken about monthly, you could go to quarterly, and then you could have some mechanism to consider applications. Now, whether that is if a resident comes to you, then you meet, and you can put that into the scheme of delegation. You could, we could still prepare the list once a month, and perhaps you could delegate the chair and the vice chair to between them look at what they are and they could comment. You could do it in consultation, or you could allow a situation where if anybody wanted to bring an application to a public meeting, then they could be brought to any committee or full council. So there were different options there other than a monthly cycle.
Can we do it on Teams? Why do we have to physically come down here and freeze us out?
By law.
By law they do, and they are consulting on this at the moment, and it did go around with full council, I think, last time.
We had to change the law during COVID to meet on Zoom. They had to pass a special law in Parliament.
You know, because I'm not being funny, like,
We all know, Joe, I think we'd all happily have all the committee meetings by Zoom.
I mean, at least we could have tea, couldn't we, while we were like, you know.
No, it's not,
Be a bit productive.
the law doesn't allow us.
All I'm saying, obviously, for me, I know a lot about planning law, and I sometimes think that it's all right commenting on things that are relevant and have, and like what we're doing now is great because there's nothing to comment. The planning process is a 6-week process from application to decision. It's 6 weeks, so
You have to be faster than that if you're going to consider all of them. That's why we sort of landed on monthly, as we are at the moment, all kind of roughly 5 weeks when we can. What was the other thing that I was going to mention? There are councils that don't consider all applications, but have a facility to allow them to be discussed at actual council.
I do think that Parish Council should have an input into significant applications, but the problem with what we'll be doing, I think, well, my feeling is the trials that, you know, it's been useful really, because I think we are concentrating on the more significant ones.
Yeah.
But as long as we're doing that, we are tied to this 5-week, 4-week, 5-week cycle, aren't we? Which is which really clogs up the entire calendar.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It meets more often than finance, than F&M or service provision, both of which spend a lot
So
of money.
if other committees could consider applications that have kind of bubbled up that we've become aware of through residents, then that obviously gives other councillors the possibility of commenting on planning applications. And I think that they ought to be part of this
I don't
committee.
sit on the planning. I like this planning meeting. Don't talk particularly about other committees. Not being funny, but you know,
Council.
well, that does make
It is more enjoyable than many of them. Nevertheless, it is a waste of an evening.
Do we have to meet here? Can we not meet in Throw it out there.
We can't meet in licensed premises. We've got a standing order.
Nowhere that alcohol is being served. Although not all of the standing orders are.
And they'd go on a lot longer if we met in the pub, Joe. You know they would.
I'm not being funny, but
So
it's not
if-
being unproductive.
If we, sorry, we need to make a resolution to this, don't we? We need to resolve this. So,
What
If
was
we-
it
if
you
we-
outlined before?
So
So that's slow.
two potential options there is that you could go every other month, and you could still prepare a list of planning applications, and that could be sifted in the same way that you do now, or perhaps between a couple of you. And then we've looked at 6 today. So those 6, now you could go to probably every other month with planning, so it's full council planning, and then any that you pick out can be considered. And you do all the other stuff, all the other planning stuff that is not applications, of which there is plenty, particularly in the year where we're running up to a local plan review.
The other thing as well
Hang on.
In the planning meetings, and that is what you use your focus group planning meetings for, but applications could
So
potentially
we
go
have
into
quarterly planning meetings.
a quarterly or every other month, because full council is every other month.
Oh, right.
So you could alternate with that, and then there is always a monthly opportunity for any planning applications that a member of the public wants to bring forward, or that you've selected out of a list. I can still prepare the list monthly and just do the meetings
So
every other month.
some of those planning applications, would have to be done at full council.
Some of them would have to be done at full council, and obviously you've got to get full council to agree to that.
Full council's already.
It is already agreed
isn't
on.
it, really? I think
Well,
we're not,
full council is too full, we can't have anything, we had 45 items on the agenda twice so far this year. And I'm going to have agenda meetings earlier with Jen, I'm going to work hard at getting things off those agendas, not more stuff on.
we want to speak.
I was just thinking that bi-monthly meeting idea is a good one, and we could just watch the planning between, so full council planning, watching the month that we've got full council and not a planning meeting, and we could have an ad hoc conversation about it and comment on it as an agreed.
I would need to check in that within the rules and standing. I mean, you can change standing orders
Yes, yeah.
as a council because you sort of
Yeah.
have the power between you to do
We
that.
have to get full council to approve it, or we can do it.
But sort of decision making needs to be done by committees or full council.
Yeah, so we could have an ad hoc committee meeting.
No,
If it
no,
was-
no, no.
No,
There are all
we
sorts of,
can't-
if
we can't do
if
that.
it's called, this is the thing, we'd have to change standing orders to allow ad hoc, they wouldn't be called ad hoc committee, you'd have to call them something else, and we'd have to change standing
Yeah,
orders.
additional meetings would be, I think it is possible. I'm not fully kilkered with the qualifications, so I feel like there should be
Yeah,
a sort of middle road.
Can't we have it as an extraordinary planning meeting?
I guess you could,
we
yeah.
probably could, we could call extraordinary meetings if there's something that really,
Yes.
Yeah.
where we all think, look, we should look at this.
Or we could just meet every month.
Yeah, but the problem with all these possible solutions is
They
it's not
involve
really reducing
I mean, when we meet every month, we know where we are, we know for the rest of the year when you've got meetings.
Yeah.
But I think, I mean, given that, the exceptions we've made are new build, listed and conservation, and that's about it, isn't it? More or
No
less.
objections.
And
Change of views.
change of use.
Green belt.
Well, listed and conservation, we can't make it, we always say, oh, we give it back to the officers, because we know they are going to make the decision. So if they came off the list,
We're left with new build.
we'd be down to new build, where there's more time. It's not urgent. You know, the first whispers of new build are a hell of a long time before you get into.
You still have that date on it though, don't you?
Sorry?
You still have a time limit on it.
I got my new bill through in 6 weeks.
I just think I think everybody knows what my position is, that we're spending we're still spending quite a lot of time on planning applications.
So that's what we're here for, isn't it?
No, but I agree with Mary. I mean,
That's
we
what-
differ, Andy. We know
Yeah,
what the
yeah.
arguments are, and we completely differ, I'm afraid.
You know, I think there's an expectation out there from the public that we
I know
actually
you
look
do.
at it.
I know. We've heard these arguments before. We don't.
Well, you don't think there's an expectation?
Well,
I
I think,
think
yeah,
most
no,
of
I
the
think-
public
yeah.
doesn't give a damn, doesn't know we exist, let alone that
I
we.
think there is an expectation out there from the public that they expect us to comment on planning applications, but I think there's also a totally unrealistic view of the amount of authority that
That's
we've
right.
got,
I
our
think-
decision-making power. I think people come and talk to us, and I just think that they've come, you know, they've given up the time, and it's scary for some people to come and speak to us. Why? Because there's really nothing we can do. Normally,
And
we
the
just
expectation
say-
from the public is based on the assumption that we have some power and we have none.
I appreciate that.
We have that much influence and zero power.
Although, in some instances, the advice that we give with experience we've got can help alter the outcome of the planning
But
application.
you could deal with that by speaking to the residents, couldn't you, and telling them to make representations to a courteous
Yeah.
council.
I mean, we can advise residents
Yeah.
on how to do the sorts of
Yeah.
arguments they might want to make to Kirklees without meeting as a committee. We can talk to our individual residents. And then the big things like building development are longer term anyway, so
And those we should be discussing, and they'll keep coming back, won't they, because there'll be this process of attrition when
Yeah.
the developers go for so
there's,
many. and now
there's
come
that
back with
first
fewer.
application for, we're thinking about building some houses, and then it gets a bit more specific, and then there comes a point where they know how many and, you know, all that sort of thing. So, with new developments, I mean, certainly more than 10 houses anyway.
I'd just like to try and sort out where we're going from here, rather than, I think that was quite useful to give people a chance to talk about.
Well, I wonder if we should go to full council saying we are divided. the planning committee can't come with a recommendation because we.
Well, I think that's going, I think that's going to be the situation.
And
I'm
council
pretty
can discuss.
sure it is. Yeah, a decision will have to be made by full council. So, maybe there's no point in the working group meeting really. Maybe the members of the working group could agree.
Then we can't agree.
Yeah, exactly. Agree a statement, agree a report, and saying the options are these,
Yes.
and these.
And Gemma can outline the various, the one you've just talked about, and maybe, if you can, so that we can say to council, we are divided on this, but here are.
I think it would be fair to say that the trial has or does work insofar as it goes.
It's reduced the workload,
Yes.
unarguably.
And we get on as a group.
And there's nothing we can do to reduce the number of meetings, and there's nothing much we can do to reduce the officers' workload. I mean, it has been reduced as well, but not to the same extent that ours has.
Would somebody like to make a resolution that we
I
agree on the statement with an options
Yeah.
document to go to full council because we as a committee are divided. I mean, I think full council already knows.
Can I propose that we go to full council with a statement that we are not agreed on this and presenting to them such options as we consider appropriate, which we might have to agree after this meeting when you type them up.
I can put some options together, potentially for feedback.
I mean, one option is leaving it as it is, obviously. We have to put that to full council. I think we need to put to full
They don't
council,
come to this meeting, though, do they?
leaving it as it is, getting rid of it altogether is another option.
Yeah.
If we're putting options to
Yes.
council.
Yeah.
And the compromise that Gemma talked about where we reduce some of the meeting.
I wonder if perhaps Gemma, Andy and I can
That's a good idea.
work up
Yeah.
work up a statement to go to full council, and then that would be on the. Did you say the 3rd of February?
3rd of Feb is the meeting is 3rd of Feb, so we'll need 28th of Jan.
Okay.
So we need to do it before that.
Yeah, I think so. I can't see the point perhaps in the working group meeting because we're just going to go over this around again and we know.
Well, I second that.
We've gone as far as we can.
I think
With streamlining the
yes.
process.
Yeah, I think
You
so.
could
There's nothing
tinker with it, but essentially it's gone as far as it can go.
Pretty much, yeah.
I would say so. And in its own terms, that's been a success really, and I think we'll put that in the document. So.
And
that
we'll
okay?
also involve Jen in that
Yes.
because in terms of the scheme of delegation and what is achievable
Okay, that
and
would
what can be done, she might have some ideas about.
that would I'm sure we can get something together for 28th of January. Thank you. At least we can agree to differ in a very friendly way.
At least we're a good natured.
Oh no, we don't.
Oh yes, we are.
Okay, moving on. Thank you. Thanks everybody very much for that. Peak District National Park Authority, no new applications received. Okay, we need to note that, do we? None in the last period, none in this period.
And that is to consider any further action. There's nothing new or amended to consider any. I recommend further action being doing nothing.
I've got something to report. I've just come from Bakewell where I was on a training thing with Peak District National Park Authority, and now this is interesting. They said that if a parish council differs, makes a decision that is different from the officer's recommendation, then the application is dealt with by a different route. It will then go to a planning committee. So and that is different. So I asked and said, well, is this different from other LPAs? And he said, yes, it is. This is this is a national park.
Oh, right.
Next week.
So that doesn't apply to Kirklees, but it does apply
Yeah.
to
It doesn't apply to
national park.
Kirklees,
Right.
obviously it applies
So-
to
so-
Kirklees
Let's
ones.
just understand that. So
Yeah.
if we get an application and we
Disagree.
And we
say we're going
say-
to oppose it,
Yeah,
it then goes to Peak District planners and they say, no, we're going to
Support.
approval.
approve it, yeah.
It then goes
Yes,
to
it would
committee.
then
It
go
then
to,
goes to
it would then go
committee.
to committee, because there's a
Okay.
difference in opinion, it just, yeah.
Because we
So-
see it first, that's what I'm getting.
Yeah, we
That
do
happened
see it
before.
first, yeah.
Going back when not long
Yeah.
after I started, one of the planning team at the peak came back to me and said,
Mm.
Ah,
this
right.
is not
Yes, I
what,
remember
this is
that.
not
Oh,
what we
yes,
said, what
yeah.
we said, it's going to have to go to committee.
Mm. Yeah.
And we were right.
I mean,
We did approve it, didn't we?
Yeah.
Maybe we should do
It
that
was-
at Kirklees.
It was really, the training was really useful about the differences between, some of them quite subtle between the Peak District National Park and other local.
And that's because it's a national park.
That's
but-
because it's a national park.
Yeah, they have different rules, don't they, like,
Yeah.
it's quite hard if you live within the
Yeah.
peak park.
Mm.
Well, my
Yeah.
mum and dad lived in the North Riding National Park, and they had to get planning permission to put a greenhouse in their council house garden.
Mm.
Well, yes, it's
It was a brick council house built, I think post-war. Yeah, well, it was post-war, so it was.
You mean a
An
garden pot?
NCB house.
It was a bungalow. It was a group of older people's bungalow.
My dad used to live in St David's in Divid National Park, part of the Pembrokeshire National Park, and you are only allowed to paint your house 5 colours, and they are all pastel.
And you can tell when you drive through Wales, you
Yeah.
can see it. It's really
It
obvious.
works up to a point. Right, so I thought that was really interesting. So whether that might have some kind of bearing on thinking whether do we continue looking at Peak District National Park. I mean,
Hey, if we're going to have a planning committee that considers only the ones that fall in the national park,
I don't think so.
come on.
I don't think so.
Well, we'll never meet.
We'd never meet. Right, okay. There were loads of people there, it was, yeah, it's good. Right, let's move on, traffic calming, Spearing and Home Valley, has there anybody anything to report on?
Oh, I had a look at the Scoldsmore Road that was mentioned at the last meeting. There aren't any metal lamp posts
Oh, really?
from the edge of
Oh.
Scolds Village all the way to the edge.
Oh,
Ah.
bummer.
Although there is a, do you know the speed things? They have there is some lampposts just off. It's the whole road. They start like just before you turn down towards the
first-
cross.
Yeah,
They just put the foot down from there all the way through
Yeah.
Scots Village. It is
because
grand.
as you're coming from Hayden Edge, the first metal lamp post you come to is the wrong side of Cross Lane.
I think in the email from Councillor Crook, I think he said there has been one, there has been a device there quite
There is one on the list, I remember.
It's not been there quite recently though,
Yeah.
because we've had 6 or 7 accidents there. Even a police
I can't-
officer crashed at that crossroads into the wall.
I don't know what the list is now, I've asked them and they won't respond, so I don't know where they are.
It would be good on Scoldsmore Road because it's very dangerous, but also, well, there's lots of places.
Oh, no. I mean, we all know half a dozen places.
It's not there, but it is a very fast road, and especially like I had the council out after the floods. I think it was New Year. I went to check the sheep, and as I went to Hayden Edge, all the water had washed down onto the main road through Hayden Edge, and it was like the cows were bottoming out and pulling over because they'd done damage and stuff. Because it's just all washing down the road onto the cross, you know, and it's quite a fast road, isn't it? And you couldn't see with the camber of the road, so they came out on New Year's Day and cleaned it all out. I did email them and phone them and say, need to exchange of
That
life.
is quite impressive.
And I was shocked.
Do we wish to do any more about this? Do we wish to ask about, if we can, again, if we can ask, was it, who did you ask, Alicia, to do the officers,
Asked
or was
the
it?
officer
Right.
a couple of times and then I followed it up with Councillor Crook.
Right.
I'd have to check on the way asked,
Well, it would be useful for us to,
just
it
be
would
nice
be
to have
useful
a list of
just
where they
to
are.
have the list, you know, I think we understand that we can't,
Yeah,
you know, we can't change things that are giving free, so, shall we ask him?
who will we ask? Councillor Crook?
Councillor Crook.
Can you ask Jamie as well?
Yeah.
I usually send it to all of them by myself.
All of them?
All
Yeah.
of them, yeah.
See who responds first.
Yeah, I had some correspondence with Council Crook. A resident contacted me about this, that there's a big pothole on Crown Lane, you know, the one that goes down from Huddersfield Road to the car park. Evidently that road is unadopted. I didn't know it was unadopted, and so is School Street.
Yes.
Yeah.
I knew that was.
Yeah, that was, but evidently Crown Lane is as well, so, it's, kind of just left, somehow left over at some point, isn't it?
I mean,
Yeah.
was it part of the original mill complex
I
or
think it must have
something?
been,
It might
was
have
it?
been, and then just
Yeah.
never adopted
Yeah.
by
But-
Homeforth
But
Council.
Councillor Crook said he thought that at the time when the court was built, that perhaps it was a requirement of the planning consent to actually make the access roads up to a certain, certain level of reasonableness. But since then, it's nobody's responsibility. I thought, and it is quite big. I looked at it today when I was coming up. So that was interesting. When School Street's saying that that's mostly pedestrian, that's in a reasonable state, isn't it?
There's a
The
big
tarmac.
pothole on it
Is-
now.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Further
No,
down?
there's one,
past the-
sorry, I'm on the wrong road. No, School Street's okay.
School Street's okay.
Is it wrong to just say if you spray some yellow spray out, it's all perfect? From experience.
So, yeah. Right, school parking boards. This is
I
you,
have
Cheryl.
failed to contact Hayditch School. I will
Let's carry it forward.
do it tomorrow.
Thank you.
Message me, won't you, Angela?
I'll remind you now.
I've been concentrating on park and ride and snow and sheep. It's a busy time of year for me.
It's always a busy time of year, Jill, isn't it? It's the nature of our life.
I know. It's very jolly.
I know. Right, so item 185, ongoing highways campaign.
Boxing Day was busy
Have
with
we
rain.
got- Has anybody got any? Gemma, have you got
Nothing from
anything?
me.
So
Any
Rams-
dates?
Ramsden Road is still closed. It's supposed to be coming up to Cabinet for a decision on the permanent TRO, but
Oh, I've had some feedback about Langston Road actually. My friend's company has been, this is not a conflict because we were discussing about it over Christmas, has been taking the material to Ramsden Road to fix it.
Yeah.
And they've been taking 35 loads a day. They've been piling some right, wait till that runs down road into it, goes and walks it and floods out the road there.
They're actually part of what they weren't going to start until spring.
Yeah.
So there's a bit in the middle there. But they have left it closed, got concrete blocks blocking it off, so there's no more damage being done at the moment.
Obviously it's a very tempting time, isn't it, 4x4 in the snow.
Oh, it's been like the rest of the route by us, by A2, it's been, and there's an abandoned car at the moment. Anyway, that's by the by, but there's nothing happening with the TRO yet. And Cheesegate and Nabs are saying it'll be done at the same meeting again.
Is that a full council meeting next week?
It's the Cabinet, what do they call it, meeting? I can't remember what they call it, local affairs or something like that. I think it's due in February, but they haven't published the agenda yet, so I can't see whether it's on there or not.
Well, you send it me when you get it. Cartworth Moor Road is better. I drove down it the other day. Yes, dropping my brother-in-law off after he'd been in the pub all afternoon. So, I didn't lose my car. I I did go all the way down the road. It was all right, but since then we've had a lot of water.
So we passed it today, it looked a mess.
But they did have the road sweeper out on Cartwell Moor Road over Christmas while the quarry was shut.
Okay, right, so that was highways campaigns, is that?
Yeah.
Thank you, okay. Right, moving on to planning policy and guidance. So the revised NPPF. Very helpful. Gemma circulated these two documents. They are, so obviously there are some changes of the NPPF, and I suppose we all ought to familiar ourselves with these the main outline. I thought the one from the, was it from NALC?
From SLCC.
SLCC, sorry, was really helpful. Okay, does anybody have anything to comment on that? No. I mean, it's very significant, it's hugely significant really, because any work that along the local plan needs to fit within that framework, obviously. Okay, so thank you for those. That's good. Yeah, that you brought to our attention as well. Design code, Councillor Mansby to report.
Oh, we won't be, I'm seeing Matt Redhill later this week, see how he's getting on. So hopefully we'll be in this better position by February.
And put it in to be reported on at February.
How many
We're
of
holding.
these, sorry, have we decided how many of these things we're having? Well, we talked about the number to be printed.
Yeah,
It's in the minutes of last
it's in the minutes
meeting,
later on.
It's
He's
just
given
the
a
price
quote
on
for
there.
100 to 500, I think was it?
Yeah.
Where does it go?
I suppose we-
If we got 500, where are they going?
yeah, I mean, it presumably would go out to
civic society,
local
business.
build or local design
and,
architects and designers and architectural technicians and.
So who deals with the distribution then?
Good question.
Probably would have to, wouldn't they?
I'm on a consortium of builders and designers. I'm on a WhatsApp group. If you want me to just tell them to come and collect one from office.
I mean, it's not huge money, is it? But I've just got visions of 500 of these things being stacked on
Stacked.
there.
We are quite good at getting stuff out, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. But we'd have
This is
to-
going to be weighted.
Where's it going?
500 is probably only
Yeah.
going to be 2 boxes at the outside.
It's probably not as much as it seems.
Yeah, it sounds a lot.
But we need to give it a lot of publicity, don't we, really? So that
The other thing about printing is that it usually costs about £5 more to have
Yeah.
500 than
Yeah.
it does to have 100.
Well, yes,
Oh, yeah, there's
later on.
economies of scale, aren't there?
Yeah, and then if you don't have 500 and you need 130,
Yes.
then it's going to cost another 100 and odd
Well,
quid.
Well, 250 is 118.30 and 1500 is 279.
Yeah.
So for double the price, for a little over double the price, you get
1,500 does seem
It's not so much that.
1,500 is an awful lot.
I don't think we need
I just
1,500.
wondered where they're going.
However cheap they are, I don't
Well,
think.
I think we can just put us heads together, can't we? And we can put it on the local, on the page, and then
Yes,
if I get the
yes.
consortium
Yeah.
of people to just come and
We can put
collect
we
it.
can put a couple in each of the
Yeah. And this
libraries.
is the kind of thing that we should be doing, I think, with the planning.
I mean, to me, I don't think we need more than 500.
Well, we can always get.
And we can give some to the local business associations
Yes,
for their
exactly,
members,
yes, probably in here.
so that
Yeah.
they know what's expected of their window displays and what have you.
You don't have to
Okay.
decide how many and who exactly now. Until it's ready.
Yeah.
That's right.
Thank you, thanks, Steve.
Also,
Yeah.
in recognition of what Pat said a few months ago now, don't come and say, do you want A, B, C, D or E?
Exactly.
We will come in and say, you've got A.
That's right. We do. This committee does not design the leaflet.
So, yeah. If you don't like it, it's tough.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Right, let's move on to the Kirklees local plan. No longer called the review, but update. The Kirklees Council changed the terminology there, which I thought is quite interesting. So an update sounds like something. Oh, I've jumped, haven't I? Sorry. So 188 place standards.
Well, we haven't had a meeting.
Andy can't attend the next meeting, and I did put an email out to everybody to see if some, and I can't make it either.
When is
to
it?
see if somebody else can do it. It's Tuesday, 21st of January, 5:30 at Holmfirth Library.
Damien has been
Damien is
invited
already
as a
there,
Kirklees councillor, but I don't know whether he's going. I was hoping
No.
I could have asked him to know.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll ask him,
Yeah.
I'll go. If it's in it
I mean, if he's going anyway,
Yeah.
then
I'll
I
ask
did
him.
ask him in the email if he could let me know if he was happy to represent the parish council as well, but he hasn't responded.
I'm
So
asking
if
him
you
now
can-
on WhatsApp.
If you can ask him, that would be
I'm
good.
actually just going to tell him.
Yeah.
He's going.
And be prepared to report back to planning.
The military,
Yeah.
voluntary.
Absolutely.
I think on the agenda for the next meeting that they're going to be talking about town gates.
Oh, well then, I'll be going then.
Consultants will be there presenting options, I assume.
Yeah, I forwarded the email that you sent me, which is Xanthi or something, somebody the consultant. So I would go except I can't. I've got school governors, so yeah, somebody should be there. But anyway, we hope Damien's going to be there. Did you say you might be able to make it? Jamie?
I'll go. It's before
Yeah.
football training, so I can go to that and go to football training.
Okay, fine. It's not for you, is it?
Absolutely not.
No, all right.
Can I ask what that group is called now? Because I've got about 3 different names in
It's
here.
called the update.
It's on
No,
the
that's
town
the other-
centre, isn't it?
Mm.
Town centre group.
Town
we call it.
centre. Great.
Yeah, it's whatever I put in the email. I hope I copied you in.
You did.
Well, that's this week anyway.
It's
Probably do a consultation to
constant
change
change of terminology, isn't it? Churns around.
Change that for next time.
Okay.
And we do a coffee and biscuits.
Really?
Very good. Right, 189 then. Got there. Kirklees local plan update. Right. So we've formed this working group, which has made quite a lot of progress, I think, really. And we've again change of terminology, decided to call it a reference group, this wider group with participants from various groups and organisations. We've moved away from using the word partnership because that might have some kind of implied legal status or something. So we thought reference group was a kind of anodyne enough name for it. I sent out the invitations. I think it was the 18th of December, which was a terrible time to be sending out invitations to come to a meeting tomorrow night.
You've had quite a good response though, haven't you?
Well, we were 14. I've got the list here. We're 14 organisations invited, and there were 6 respondents. So it's not. So that those that are coming at the moment are Brockhalls Green Spaces, Eco Homes. I'm not sure about HV Home Valley Climate Action Partnership. I had a holding, a kind of positive holding message, but I'm not sure. Home Valley Vision, which is Margaret Dale and Holmfirth Business together. And also the Penistone Line Partnership, which I think is really interesting.
Well, they're in the process of doing a lot of outreach and talking to people. The whole Ask Conley thing is currently focusing on
Is
the
he focusing
on
on
the
the Penistone
Penistone
Line
line.
Partnership?
of
I did say-
improvement.
I sent a reminder to all those organisations which haven't responded a few days ago, but no one.
The Conley Business Association.
No. I've got June Mack as the.
June McLean.
Mm.
Did the Homley Civic Village Trust, or whatever it's called?
Homley Civic Society.
No, not Homley Civic Society. The
Homley
village.
Village Community Trust.
That's the one.
Did not respond. No.
Who
No,
did you
it's
send it to? You know?
It was info@homleyvillagetrust.org.uk.
I think it might just be a time of year, might it?
It
I
might
think
be.
it is largely to do with the time of year, really. So it's
Yeah.
not, we'll keep pegging
And they can
away.
join late. It's
Yeah.
not as though it's now or never, you know, if you don't join now, you can never
No,
get on with it.
it's an open group. I'm not going to say that's you that comes to the annual meeting, you can't come anymore. No, we won't. No, we just the more the merry, really, and probably also individuals that have got particular expertise as well.
I guess we will run out of time though, won't we?
Oh,
Well,
well,
I would
We have to give a
answer
response.
Lorraine, who's treasurer of the community
Okay,
trust.
yeah.
I'll be seeing her on
And if you just encourage
Thursday, I think.
to respond that way.
Don't we have to
She
send
may not
something
have
in the
seen
paper?
it.
Well, it's two things. Yeah, we have to get something by the end of February, but it won't finish then. I mean,
No,
but
I'm
we'll
not suggesting
we
that.
we're hoping to get something in by then. I think we've decided that the initial the early engagement consultation is not really suitable to do with the group. They just look at it. It's just not really. So, but it would be quite good for us to get something in by then in a different format. But we also need to encourage everybody to complete the early engagement consultation as individuals. So
what I was going to mention was I got the TITO, which is the little booklet that goes through your deadline tomorrow. I don't have a particular story that I need to run, so I can run a story on
That would be
about
nice.
that. Whether you want that as come and talk to us about it, or whether you just want to please do the survey.
I think it's, well, I would think it's please do the survey. Please do the survey. I think
Yeah.
please
We
do
can
the
always
survey.
do come and talk to us later,
Yeah.
can't we?
That's on an individual.
And can you
Yeah,
put on
it
the
is, yeah.
Facebook page that you put that in the Tato thing?
Potato, yeah. I will just put it on the Facebook to.
Yeah.
And I just throw that survey, that booklet straight in the bin.
I've been meaning to say to you for ages, I really like Spot That Bench.
Oh, good. It was fun. I've got a regular
But
who
are
gets
you
it.
any good at it?
Do you think you could do a seasonal one where you could like put the Easter
She's
chicken
been exciting,
I
Well,
did
I'm
not
not-
say it.
Well, I'm not on the Kensington Dodge.
You know, like for the Easter holidays, do like spot the Easter chicken and then move it. Ask the business group to move
Possibly,
it
yeah.
around.
I don't do the photos, you see. The photos are like, otherwise I'll be out all over the place all the time. The photos are on our asset register, and I just take them off there, and it doesn't take them very long. Because if I've got to go out taking photos, that's going to take.
So you see, you could cheat
What?
that.
And
You could just look at the
from-
asset
You'd
register.
be alright.
No, but you know, like
But there is
you've got
a
the business to run
prize.
it.
If there was money in it,
Yeah, you bring the chicken around them first.
Yeah,
Over
but-
the holidays, you could take photographs of the chicken in so many places
I
and
think,
win a creamer.
I think we digress here.
No! Whatever makes you say that?
We're supposed to be
I
getting
think it needs to be. It needs
You're
to be
as
very
bad
much
as her.
locations.
Yes, please can we go back to business in hand?
Just back on the local plan, there was something
Yeah.
in the press, wasn't there, about the lack of interest from Kirklees councillors in this. They've been
Well,
asked to
let
comment.
me just
And now
say.
I don't know which
yeah,
one.
Right. I also invited Kirkley, all the Kirklees council from both South and Valley North, and in fact, well, Jane Myler's already a member of the working group anyway. Moses Cook said yes, he was interested and he'll attend when he can, but he's like 1,000 meeting. But what is a bit concerning is that there's nobody from Home Valley North. No, I had no reply from any of the others. So it's oh no, that's not. Charles Greaves did reply, but he said he wasn't interested, which means that Tony McGrath and Donald Bellamy, who haven't responded, Damien hasn't responded either. So, but Home Valley South is kind of covered. It's Home
I was
Valley
going to
North.
say, we're getting a big hole
We're
for
all
Home Valley
right.
North here,
Yes,
so
and
maybe you could point out to Donna that
Yeah,
there's
okay.
very
I'll-
low
I'll-
levels of representation for
I
Home Valley North.
didn't go back and remind the councillors, but I think perhaps I should maybe.
I'll remind
The,
them.
the article.
Yeah, because
At least
Holly
councillors must have
Holly
been
is
invited
underrepresented
from Turkey.
substantially.
And they've been disappointed.
I mean, even Buckles has got more
I think-
representation
Something
than
like
Holly
only
at the
6 of them
moment.
responded out of the whole 64 units.
Well, I think perhaps there might be an issue there because Margaret Dale has re-established contact with Joanna Scruton, who's the lead Kirklees officer for this, and she was delighted that somebody was Joanna was delighted that some people, us, were taking an interest. So that's
I
kind
think
of.
Debbie Dale is doing theirs as well.
Yeah, everybody's doing it because they've been kind of got to really, haven't they? It's fine. Yeah. So I'll contact those councillors who haven't responded, but there is a particular issue about.
Point out to Donna that Holly's.
Okay, well I'll do them in. I'll do them individually. Okay. Yeah.
I've done that.
Alright, it's already done, is it?
And what about Tony McGrath? Have you got a good relationship with him?
No.
Can you remind him?
Does that mean you've got a bad relationship with him or you don't know him?
I don't have much to do with it.
Okay, well
I can push that if you like. I'll just put.
well, it
I'll
all
ask
helps, doesn't it? I'll do it,
Yeah.
but it helps. It all helps.
It helps if you do it as well as Mary, I think.
Yeah.
you. There you go. I've done it. And I've put. I'm tell Tony.
Delegated.
Brilliant. Right. Okay.
You want to be a councillor and they're getting paid. We're doing it for no.
So Gemma, you don't need any. You've got all the information, haven't you?
So
About
I'm
the
gonna-
engagement.
Yeah, I'm going to
Consultation.
promote the engagement consultation through
Yeah.
our various channels.
Yeah.
I should be able to get it
And
on
we
the
did-
sales focus on.
We did have a member of the public come to the last meeting, didn't we, to try and get us to raise it, and it has been.
Chair, can I just point out that I'm about to put my fourth layer on.
Layer on,
Please can we
alright.
finish soon?
Absolutely.
Read.
Well, I didn't read my code. I didn't think it all
Not
the houses
being
yesterday.
Did you get in touch with you?
We all the hours.
Yeah.
Well, we
So
always
we
match
are taking some action. Okay, right. I don't disagree with you. Colin. Can we move on from that?
Yeah.
We had the notes from our meeting. So we'll just see how we get on tomorrow night. I hope it's warmer in here tomorrow night because it's going to be.
Well, Gemma might be able to get somebody to teach her how to use the heat.
I'm going
I
to
don't
go
have
to
you
Sherry
start
tomorrow.
Fine.
That heating is clearly not working for us.
And they only arrived this week, I think, or maybe the back end of last week, so I'm just not reading it for them to show me how to use it yet.
Right.
Don't be a remote.
Item 190, neighbourhood development plan.
Still working on it,
Dave?
yeah. As I said last time, it's trying to be objective rather than subjective, and sort of trying to take out my bias. Because most of them are not measurable, and that's difficult. And that's when you start getting, you know, my bigoted view is coming into play on this subject, and therefore I'm going to give it a score of 1 out of 10, when it's probably worth more than that.
What, 2?
If possible. Which is always difficult if you have aims and whatever you like to call them that are not measurable. You should never have any policies that you cannot measure. You know, high-minded principles are all very, very nice, but you have to say, you have to measure the achievement. And I
Done over there.
Smart objectives.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Very good. Yep. That's quick.
You know what the answer is, you just said Joe on here.
Really?
Do your-
What exactly In the event,
Unless you don't,
was it legal?
unless you don't know.
It's the witch office.
Yeah, we're being recorded, so don't tell me.
I do not know what you mean. I work for the NHS and follow my political guidelines when being paid, and I'm not. So therefore, I'll do what I please.
Right.
So yes,
Thank you
I will
so
try.
much, yeah.
I'm trying to sort of make it a presentable, something that we can sort of talk about.
It's not a usable document,
No.
is it?
No.
I mean, it's hugely extensive. I mean, I know it went through lots of iterations and there was pressure from various organisations to put this into
And a lot of work went
and
into
a lot
it.
of work
You
went
know,
into
And
it.
people, and it was the first
Yeah.
time anybody had done it.
Yes.
So I think,
You know,
I mean, to be fair, I'm filled with admiration for people who did it and how it came out. And the fact that it's proved not to be as valuable as we'd hoped is sad, but not reducing the
It's
work
good,
that
it's
it
good, I think it's good on the descriptive stuff is good, but it policies for the implementation.
I read it and at the time it came out and I just thought, it's not very committed. Do you know, like...
You're probably the only person who's ever read the whole
No,
thing.
well, I did read it because I wanted to do something and I couldn't do it because it was in the LDP, so then I had to do it differently. I still did it, but I just did it differently. And that's what you do, you just circumnavigate the ridiculousness of it, and some of it was just, some of the things in there actually make the building, say for example if you're extending it, unstructurally sound by design, and you just think, why would anybody do that? It's not. Sometimes I think you need a planning background or you need some sort of structural experience to understand the document. It's not that it was done with good intention.
Oh,
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not, do you know what I mean? But it's not being done by
It
people who
isn't
understand
very
it.
useful to us now.
We'll need to review it and renew it and update it. So,
But I mean,
that kind of principle
there
work
were
will be really
consultants
useful.
working with them.
There were, yeah.
And you should really
Yeah.
have given them better
Yeah.
guidance.
But they may have, and
So-
not been.
They might have ignored the guidance.
Do you want any like support with it or not?
No, I'll present something hopefully fairly soon, which you can then discuss.
And I mean, yes, we shouldn't start now because there'll be new people elected to different chairs and all the rest in the spring, but at some point in the next year or 18 months, we should be looking at
Review.
But
a complete
yeah.
review of it.
It needs to fit within the local plan too,
Yes.
doesn't it?
So when we finish the work on the local plan, and we know what that is,
Then we
that
can-
would be the time to start
Yeah.
reviewing that.
Yeah, so it would be really, you know, if an emerge with the document that's actually usable, that would be an achievement, wouldn't it? Okay, thanks Steve. And item 191, which is the expenditure against budget and reserves. So we're not making a decision on the booklet yet. Okay.
Before we make that decision on the booklet, would it be a good idea to look at a target audience number? Possibly.
Yes. As to roughly,
Estimate
Estimate.
approximately.
if you can identify who you want to send it to, that will help us inform.
Well, you would want to send several copies to the various business associations, whatever they're called.
Yeah.
And they'd probably, what, 25 each? How many members do they have? More than that.
So we are included, Hull is included as well,
Oh,
isn't
yeah.
it? Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So we need to find out from them how many members they've got over.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Also, like if you gave it to the
Understood.
local estate agents when they're
Yeah.
leasing shops out,
Yeah.
they can say this
Yeah.
is part of the
That's right.
shop
Oh,
package.
that's a good idea.
Developers.
Obviously, the
Yeah.
libraries.
And the kind of frequent flyers on our planning applications, you know, the four
Mm.
firms that keep coming up extremely regularly, and make sure that they've got one.
And I can give you a list from the consortium of builders and architects with contact details for them, and we can just message them and ask them to come.
Or all the architects in the area, in the valley.
So we're
Yes, yeah.
builders and architects it wants to go to.
Right, so who's going to do this? Oh,
You mean come up with a list or
Mm.
circulate them?
just get the number.
Well, do you want to work with it, Steve? And me and you can do it together and present it to Janet.
We can
That
come
would
up
be
with a
good.
list of names.
Bit cross party working.
We can ask tomorrow night, we can ask how many people are in the home first business together.
We're in the same party.
Are we not?
I don't have all the app on that.
Thank you. But we do get through quite a lot of work in this committee, I have to say, you know, we do actually get stuff moving, don't we? So the final item is 192, publicising the work, so anything there?
You were doing the potato thing, weren't you, for your little survey?
Yeah, so I'll put the survey tied out, I will put it up on Facebook, I will put it on the website as a news item as well. There's already one down the,
consultation.
Yes.
Is that? Yeah.
there's already a version
Yes,
on
that's
the
what
notice
that
board
was.
down there.
Laughing at the way bubble gum.
It's not real though, it's fake,
Moves
just in case.
independently, as it were.
Anybody thinks that?
Apparently, there's a new scam, and that people are buying, and it applies particularly to cheaper garments, not to expensive ones. That people are buying things believing it's false fur, and manufacturers of really cheap garments in places like China, it's cheaper to kill animals. So there are people deliberately buying false fur that are getting real fur.
Only in this society could that
Yes,
happen.
only in this modern world.
I think that's it then. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
So
you.
we're
Thank
just
you,
over
Jen.
an hour.
Hour and 10 minutes, very good.
Minutes, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
That's been
So Steve, I'll get a list of stuff together.
Yeah, I'll try and get numbers of the business group for Home First. I'll speak to a couple of shopkeepers I know.
Can you find out from the Homley Business Association as well?
Have you got a name for them?
Holly June McLean.
And ask her if about coming to the.
Yeah, while you're on.
While you're on, ask her
That's
that.
what it's for.
And if she doesn't,
I don't know
then
for-
say Joan.
She does today.
Do you know what I mean?
And she's
Thank you.
she's Deborah Jewellery.
Don't say that.
Oh, yes, she's a original.
My friend Rosie works there,